بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of The Virtues of Islam, brought to you by the Sharjah Media Corporation. In previous episodes, we've been discussing the good and virtuous qualities of al-Islam, the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has completed it. As it says in the Quran, that He has completed His favor to us and finished our religion, and that He likes Islam for us as a deen, our way, what we hold on to. We've been discussing various points about the religion of Islam, and then we come to a point where we're discussing a proactive part of the religion, where you see the religion between the people, known as its brotherhood. In last episode, we spoke about brotherhood as an act of worship. And then we talked about brotherhood. It's necessary for it to be in the way of Allah, meaning that people are the brothers of brothers and sisters are the sisters of sisters for the sake of Allah. And that having brotherhood for the sake of Allah makes it pure and gives it longevity. Today we want to talk about another aspect of that brotherhood, being active in the religion, and that is, it's the right of brothers and sisters to give personal and financial aid to those who need it. In other words, those brothers and sisters who are close to you as your brothers and sisters, and even those who aren't, you should give financial aid and other types of aid from yourself to those of your brothers and sisters who need that aid. People have different levels of social and financial status. And in societies, people are not the same. Rather, they are diverse. The wealthy serve the needs of the poor, and the poor serve the needs of the wealthy. People who possess social status and prestige serve those and give from their status and prestige to those who don't have those qualities. People exist in this type of diversity because Allah has placed them into it, particularly the workforce, and who has less and who has more. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَرَفَعْنَا بَعْضُهُمْ فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ دَرَجَاتٍ لِيَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُهُمْ بَعْضًا سُخْرِيًّا وَرَحْمَةُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. And we raise some of them above others in ranks so that they may employ others in their work. But the mercy, the paradise of your Lord, O Muhammad, is better than the wealth of the world that they amass. Brotherhood requires a person to prefer oneself, to prefer others over oneself. Allah has described those who have complied with this principle as follows: وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. And they give them preference over themselves, even though they were in need of that. And this is speaking of the time when the Muhajirin came from Mecca to Medina. The Ansars gave of themselves, even if they had the needs for what they gave it to the people who made the immigration from Mecca to aid them as their true brothers. Giving your brother preference over yourself is one of the beloved rights of brotherhood. If brotherly relationships reach this level, then it would be a wonderful thing. In other words, if you have brothers and sisters who give and who prefer their brothers and sisters over themselves, that is a great level of brotherhood and love and concern for mutual brotherhood. However, what we're talking about here is something a little less than that. It's a brother using his spare time to help his Muslim brother, as well as helping him with wealth that exceeds his own needs. So in this portion, we're speaking more of if someone has extra, if he has surplus, whether it be his wealth or his time or even his reputation, that he should share that with his brother who has needs. Success in this aspect of brotherhood occurs when you are aware of your brother's needs. It also means you're paying attention to your brother. And sister, it means you're paying attention to your sister. According to some people of knowledge, it's not proper etiquette to wait until your brother has to ask for help. Rather, you should have an awareness of his needs. This was the case with the companions of the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were aware of each other. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu reported, while we were with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on a journey, a person came upon his mount and began to stare at on the right and on the left. It was at this moment that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "He who has an extra mount should give that to one who has no mount for him. And he who has surplus or provision should give them to him who has no provisions." He made mention of so many kinds of wealth until we were of the opinion that none of us has any right over the surplus. The issue of giving your brother from your surplus can be fulfilled in various ways. So there are various ways in which a person can share what they have of surplus time and surplus wealth and even surplus reputation or well-known reputation. One way is by making loans to your brother from your surplus. If you lend your brother from your surplus wealth once, it is considered a good deed. If you make a loan on 2 occasions, it is as though you're giving him charity. روى ابن ماجه في سننه من أقرض أخاه مرتين فهو كصدقة عليه. It was reported in Ibn Majah that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever gives a loan to his brother twice will get a reward as if he has spent money on him in charity." These loans are given without your brother asking for them. Say you're sitting with your relative or your close brother and he begins to talk to you about a situation that's happening to him financially. You hear what he's saying. He hasn't asked you. You're close to him, you know him, you help him. Don't wait. If you're able to, help him. Don't wait for him to ask. The fact that he's explaining it to you and that he's trusting you with an intimate situation like this is a way of asking you, letting you, his close brother, know his situation. And the same for you, sister. If you're sitting with your sister and she begins to talk to you about a situation and you have the ability, loan it to her or give it to her in charity. These loans are given to your brother without asking. You see his need for the loan. You see his condition is shabby. Allah has expanded your sustenance. Give some of your surplus to your brother. This is the way to establish that tie of brotherhood. The brother who initiates this type of gesture is not like the one who must wait to be asked. Allah has described the believers as ruhama bainahum, that they are merciful among themselves. Being merciful toward your brothers allows you to assist them with their needs. Some brothers need some of the good social standing to help them. In other words, a person, you, may be of important standing where you work or among the people that you know, and your brother needs a job, and he comes to you and says, and you know he's a good person. He's not someone who has a bad reputation, and he needs a job, for instance. You should recommend him. Use your ability. Use your good standing at your job. If you know he's a good person and will do the job, you should share your standing with him. Share what you have with him. Some need personal aid with their homes. Others need help repairing various things. Some have deadlines that are difficult to meet, while others have important matters to attend to. They have journeys to take and the like. From the rights of brotherhood and from the virtues of Islam is to assist your brother in these matters if they need your assistance. These affairs are required in bonds of brotherhood. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مثل المؤمنين في تواددهم وتعافتهم كمثل الجسد الواحد إذا اشتك منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالحمى والسهر. The believers in their mutual love, mercy, and sympathy are just like one body. When one of the limbs suffers, the whole body responds to it with sleeplessness and fever. Another hadith of the Messenger of Allah says, "Al-mu'min lil-mu'min kabunyan yashud ba'duha ba'da." A believer to another believer is like a building whose different parts reinforce each other. This right entails a brother giving himself to his brother, donating his time, donating his wealth, as well as obeying the command of Allah to eliminate all traces of stinginess from his own heart. This is a perfection that is loved by Allah. He has commanded believers who have accomplished this to be able to remove traces of stinginess from themselves. وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمْ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. He has commended those people who have been able to do this. And whosoever is saved from his own covetousness, own greed, such are they who will be successful. A brother should not be stingy with his personal contacts or giving a qualified brother a recommendation for a job. After all, what is real brotherhood if it doesn't entail donating to those who have need? There's a hadith that says, "Man kana fi hajati akhi, kana Allahu bi hajati." Whoever is in the aid of his brother, Allah is in his aid. Helping your brother before he asks you is a mark of excellent character. If he has to ask you and you help him, you have done what is obligatory. However, not waiting for him to ask you is more superior and more virtuous in the rights of brotherhood and as a virtue in general of Islam. It's hard to understand the rights of brotherhood unless someone understands that at all times that he must preserve the rights of the brother to have honor, that we must preserve our brother's honor. This obligation is among the weightiest of the rights of brotherhood. In fact, the understanding of brotherhood is impossible to understand unless a brother preserves the honor of his close companion and others in general. The Prophet ﷺ commanded that the brotherhood of one Muslim to another must include the preservation of his honor. Abu Bakr reported that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said during his farewell pilgrimage on Mount Arafah, "Inna dama'akum wa amwalukum wa agradakum alaykum haram." Verily, your blood, meaning your lives, and your property, and your honor are sacred to you. In general, the honor of another Muslim is sacred. This right is even more applicable to companions who have established a very close bond of brotherhood. This type of relationship must include the preservation of the bonds of friendship, must include the preservation of a brother's honor. The preservation of a brother's honor with a close companion has certain qualities that must be observed. So if you and a brother are very close and you know each other very well, the honor is preserved in a number of ways between you. One, a brother must remain silent about the shortcomings of his close companions. He must not broadcast the things that he has seen from his brother that he would not have seen if he wasn't so close to him as a companion. A close bond of friendship allows one companion to see many things from the other one. At times, he may say a word or do an action or conduct himself in a way that's less than favorable In cases like these, where your companion may say a word that's not nice, or do an action that another action is better than, an action which is not nice, in other words. In cases like these, it's necessary for his companion not to spread what he heard or saw from the occasional shortcomings of his friend. Someone could be staying with a brother temporarily. He could be staying with you at your home, and he sees and hears things in his brother's house that do not please him. He decides to tell what he sees and what he hears to those who weren't present. You should not do this. He was at so-and-so's house, he may say, and I heard this and I saw that. This type of action is not preserving a person's honor. It is violating the honor of your close friend. The solution is to give your companion advice, is to advise your close companion about what he has done. Show him a better path. Not doing this leads to an environment, a social environment, where everyone is on their guard and no one mixes or socializes with anyone. For fear of that, if he comes to my house and he sees anything, he will tell others what he saw. This type of environment doesn't breed close brotherhood. Therefore, it's necessary to preserve your brother's honor in his presence and in his absence. One writer, Abu Abdullah al-Katib Muhammad ibn Amran ibn Ubaydullah, may Allah have mercy upon him, when he found that there were hardly any friends of this caliber, of this type in his era, wrote a book entitled Tafdil al-Kilab ala kathirin mimman labisa al-thiyab. He wrote a book called The Virtue of Dogs over many people who wear clothes. This is because if you are good to a dog and train him well, he will fulfill his duty to you to the point where he will sacrifice himself for you. Whereas there are people who are deceptive. They get near to others, notice their shortcomings, and shortly afterwards broadcast the shortcomings they witnessed. If someone knew that about them, that they were that type of person, they would consider them enemies and not friends. We must not do that. In the right of a close companion, it is the right of a close companion to expect that his close friend will not spread his shortcomings and injure his honor. In our next episode, we'll continue with this topic, inshallah ta'ala. I'm Talib Abdullah for the Sharjah Broadcast Corporation. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.